Right, welcome back to the Unfan Podcast and welcome to another match reaction for Oxford United as we were defeated by Ipswich Town on Boxing Day by 3-0. It was comfortable for Ipswich, very, very comfortable indeed. For Oxford, it was a tough watch, very, very difficult indeed. And for large parts of the game, we looked out of ideas, we were dominated, we were played off the park. I could go on with those, I could go on and on and on. But Ipswich, you can see by looking at the league table, just going into this game, they were going to be a real test, and they showed it. And they're the first side this season where I've watched a side and go, wow, there's something else. There's something very, very different. And they are, I know they've had defeats this season, but today they turned on the heat. They turned on the heat and they looked at times unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable indeed. And, we couldn't get a kick in for so much of this game because they were very, very good. And we can break down Oxford's performance. We can speak about how we definitely weren't at our best. But sometimes it comes down to the opposition. And they didn't let us show our quality in many, many ways. First 30 minutes was quite balanced. It was quite a balanced game. It looked like a pretty good League One encounter. Both sides were quite end-to-end. Oxford, I'd say, were probably in control for the first 20 or so minutes of the match. But from then on, when Ipswich got their rhythm going, and we speak about momentum every single week, and speak about it on the roundups, when they got going, and I'm going to make sure to put the graph, the SofaScore momentum graph, the attacking momentum graph on the screen now, you can see when they got going, it was pretty relentless. It was wave after wave of attack, and we could not get a grip. Some of their players, they were brilliant. Leif Davis at left back, the formation, the system that Ipswich played and Kieran McKenna has worked on, I think, since he came in about a year ago, looks like something so natural and so easy for the players to work as a part of. Leif Davis on that left-hand side was dominated at wing-back. Wes Burns on the other side was relentless in going forward, using his pace. Marcus Harnett and Conor Chaplin and Freddie Ladapo, all three of those players at one point were able to come off the field and be substituted. The game was done by them. And even when they, the players that came on and replaced them, they looked dangerous and they gave us another issue. But those three players, that trio, were absolutely brilliant. Two of them scored the goal. Just by looking at the ratings on SofaScore, which I know that the match ratings is not a good way of breaking down a game, and watching it like I did, and I imagine quite a few people did. Of course, there's a much better way of breaking a game down, but I think by seeing and looking at an all-round performance, they did just that. It was an absolutely all-round performance of top quality from the home side, and I just don't think Oxford today was a clear indicator of how far away we are. How far Oxford are away from the sides that are like Ipswich, Plymouth as well, Sheffield Wednesday maybe not in the game against each other, but look across the entire season, there is a big gap there, and I think we can see why. Of course, there were sort of different injuries and different issues that Oxford had to sort of deal with. Of course, absentees, Lewis Bate not being there probably would have started this game. Marcus Brown came off and that really did affect Oxford. James Henry came on, and I think coming off in the same game shows probably his type of performance. It wasn't great. He didn't impact the game in the way that Carlton would have wanted him to, but I think that was a big mistake from Robinson. We're bringing off a player like Marcus Brown through injury, which is again not in our control, but he offers pace, and when Marcus Brown did come off, you could see the flair, the fluidity of the attack from Oxford completely die away, and James Henry coming on, he's not that quick player anymore. He probably was about, let's say, 5 years ago to be nice, but he isn't that type of player anymore. He's quite a defensively, he's not a defensive player, but in a game where you've got to sit tight, he's defensively, quite good in an attacking phase. He's very solid. He's quite patient. He's rather pass the ball instead of dribble and take players on. And what I mean in a defensive system, in a defensive setup, he's quite a good attacking player to bring on. Marcus Brown will take players on. He'll be a bit more creative. He'll try and maybe be a little bit less disciplined in a more unified system. And maybe as Oxford, you could argue that we weren't very ambitious by bringing on James Henry when we had options like Murphy that did eventually come on, but very late on in the game, and they weren't able to impact it. Same with Wildschlat as well, and quite a few others. O'Donker as an example. Tyler Goodwin came on with just injury time to play. But going back to Ipswich, they were, like I say, in total control, and they made us look like schoolboys. We speak about men versus boys. In a football sense, it was like that. They were a different level, an absolute different level, and you just sometimes have to sit back and go, we looked and they made us look totally hopeless, and they did. It sounds really harsh, it sounds really cruel, but it's true. They made us look like, we were absolutely bang average and worse. And sometimes as a fan, of course, it's never nice to feel, but sometimes you've got to just admit they were much, much better. So much better. And that gap between where we currently are and where I think we probably will finish, which is probably around mid-table, I do think we are better than 16th, but not much better. Only a few places higher than that. And Ipswich probably will go and win promotion. I'm not just saying that after one game. They've been very consistent across the season, but today, they're on top form, and they, like I say, played us off the park for so much of it, and we were battered. We were battered, and we were getting frustrated. The more the game went on, we were frustrated. And, we don't normally get, beaten by high score lines, and we don't normally get beaten 3 or 4. And I think the last one was a 4-0 away to Peterborough a couple of years ago. But this was, this was signs of that. It was not, a good Christmas Day or Boxing Day fixture, a good Christmas period fixture. It really was not one to remember. We'll talk about the festive times in football. This was not one to go back and think about too much longer. We have to sort of put things right on Thursday, and then improve on things even more against Exeter on New Year's Day. But we're a long way away from where we want to be, and we've, I think, got to accept that. I think Ipswich, of course, were very, very good, but we were so sloppy in possession at times. We were so sloppy. We allowed them to have the ball. I mean, in that second, I think we only had one shot on target the entire game. We had 2 shots on target the entire game. 65% possession the home side Ipswich had. They had 18. They had 9 on target. We only had 2. They had 18 total shots. We only had 7. Corners. They had 13 corners. We only had 4. They had 1 big chance. We didn't have a single big chance in the game. Majority of our shots, 5 out of the 7, were outside the box. We didn't do anything really of clear quality in terms of shots and testing the goalkeeper. 6 saves McGinty was forced to make. 2 Walton saved apparently. I don't really remember the second one. I remember the first one in the first half. The second one I can't quite remember. And that probably does show and probably does represent how, as Oxford fans, we're feeling at the moment. Let's try and forget this as quickly as we can. But it's important to, I think, learn the lessons. I think we probably did get taught a lesson, quite a big lesson. And the biggest one being that is what we need to maybe strive to be anything like. If we can be anything like that, then we've done something right in League One. But at the moment, we are a long way away. And, we speak about how far we've come, or maybe how far we haven't come compared to last season, and the difference in sides now. Ipswich have gone like this, and we have gone probably like this, if we're being totally honest. I haven't listened to Carl Robinson's thoughts. I'll wait and see what he got to say in his post-match interview. I hope he's honest. I hope he is honest. I hope he doesn't come out and think of excuses. If he mentions the Marcus Brown injury, then so be it. I do think that didn't help us at 0-0, but I don't think with Marcus Brown still on the field that scoreline changes much. To be honest, I think it did look like it was only going to go one way, and when it just got going, it was so hard to stop them. It was like trying to stop a wave that just had so much after it, and you just had to go. What can you do? What can you do? For Oxford now and for Ipswich, when looking at the league table, we're 15th. Results, I think Fleetwood dropping points again today helped us with that. We don't drop any further than 15th. We stay where we are, but we talk about the gap of top 6. I don't think we're going to get there. I'm pretty confident in saying that now, but that's sort of where you're looking to aim and trying to stay in that pack of teams that have got a chance. Wickham now move in there now on 35 points. We're on 26 points. That gap is getting bigger and bigger. We've now got 2 big home games. We've got to try and put things right, but if we play like that, it's not going to be easy whatsoever, because we didn't play very well. Although they were very good, and I'll pile on the credit for Ipswich, and so I should. We weren't very good either, and that's important to say. We were bad, but we were made to look even worse than that. We were made to look pretty awful for the majority of the game. As for Ipswich, Plymouth beat Cheltenham today, so they don't go top, but they are on 48 points, only 2 places off top spot, so they're still in the mix, they're still in the pack, and all 3 of the top 3 teams won today as well. So that sort of trio of Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich and Plymouth continuing to run away with it, and you can see why. The quality was certainly there, and it was showed for the majority of the game. Thanks for watching. Ipswich fans, I'm sure you'll give your thoughts in the comment section down below. Oxford fans as well, I want to hear from you. Not a good day at the office, not a good Boxing Day fixture, but we were made to look pretty rubbish this afternoon. And a mix of both. They're sort of in the middle. We weren't very good whatsoever. Ipswich were very good. Meet in the middle. it did not look very good for the away side. Like I say, put things right potentially on Thursday against Charlton, but it won't be easy. Let's see what happens. Give me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Both sets of fans have been intrigued to see what you've got to say. I'll be replying and responding to all of them as per usual. Busy, festive period on the podcast. We've got roundups coming very, very soon as well, reflecting on the games today. And also, of course, we've got Derby and Bolton. They face each other tomorrow, so we'll be speaking about that one. And the roundup will be tomorrow evening. Leave a like, please do subscribe. I'll see you all very, very soon. Yeah, not a great day at the office today for Oxford United.